It's just more functional. When you have the setting side, the relationship side, you're setting the setting and it's functional, objective. It's the belief we're sharing the same, we're in a relationship, we have the same belief. We're doing business together because we believe in we're going to make money, we're going to do the same things, it's the right way to do it. But if you get ripped off or something happens, somebody else doesn't live up, you're putting your half in and they're not putting their half in. Well, you have a one-sided relationship and it doesn't work out. So equality, inequality, someone who believes they know how to spend all the money in the company and is taking out for their vision, but not your vision isn't important as theirs, you can be let down if they mess it up. And so you have kind of a team consensus here that you're aligning with. So if the minister has, that's a huge thing for that quadrant. If one partner isn't living up to, isn't being responsible or changes beliefs, the other partner's left out. So there's puzzles about how to hold together and a sense of what's belief, what's right or wrong, and how it gets complicated. I'm guilty again. So it can be someone drinking, it can be someone not living up to it, and you're trying to buffer for them. And the confusion comes from this interreaction, this reaction to the partner or the people you're aligned with. It's not the projection into, it's in the thing when you're projected out to believing in people and believing we're putting it in this book and you're trying to make it happen. And the sense in the sensation how you're aligning and you're expecting it's there and you're trying to live up to it as best as possible. You can be let down or not live up to expectations of others, and there's the great source of confusion and guilt, but also the great source of belief. I'm aligned right now. I got the perfect marriage. I got nothing to question, and my faith is in place. They did what? How come? How could this happen to me? You know, like it's all I can do is point in the direction. I can't define it exactly, but I can point so you can sort of see it or sense it. When it's below the horizon, it's the part of your chart that reacts to people's input, good or bad, and you respond. If you're a kid in school and you don't get good feedback, you feel guilty. I'm not good enough. Why should I bother? You know, like you go home and you hide in TV or a computer game. But this is taking feedback, responding, improving, being creative, and feeling secure about your reaction to other people. They did this and I was able to respond to make this better. Or like you have a belief, it's a really creative thing, but it's a simple thing to do. My kid's crying, I've got to fix the kid, I got to take care of things. It's very personal. Doesn't matter. Sorry, the kid's crying, I've got to pull myself away, go into it. It's a feeling. So the beliefs are tied up in your personal feelings, good and bad. When you feel great, wow, it's incredible. When you feel bad, wow, how could this possibly be? And when you go into your feelings personally, it's nobody else's business. It's just, I'm in a funk, I'm in a mood, I'm there. No one can come in there to deal with it. Well, when you finish with that, let us know. We can start reacting. But here, you've already taken it in, you're having to deal with yourself. Each thing here can be good or bad. It's not good or bad in itself, but there's a specific vulnerability. I'm just playing on it so you see the difference between the four quadrants. And really, that's the difference between the four quadrants for every planet. It's just Neptune's putting this puzzle, this confusion, this extreme belief and extreme disbelief or guilt in that area. It's putting confusion in that area. It's making temptations come up. Temptations, not good for that. We're all tempted at this thing. It's where we went into our temptations. So some of the countering of it, you see someone has it there, you're always going to try and get Neptune to be more sincere, more simple, more self-reliant, more humble, and maybe more socially conscious, dedicated to a cause, helping somewhere. So wherever Neptune is, that's where you're going to need to apply this simplicity, self-reliant. How do I impose that? Rather than buying the big dream. But every now and then, sometimes you have to go on the big dream just to learn about it. Even if, what was it, Edgar Casey said, if better to love one person completely, even if that person was unfaithful, than to lose the love that gave your life deeper meaning. So it's better to have loved than lost than never to have loved at all. You might be sad because you lost it, but at least you had it. Then there's so many people who are sad because they never had it. Puzzles. They dissolve the ego. They're not rigid things. You look at it and then you have your stance of whether you believe or not or how you're aligned to it. quadrants. Okay, so now as we get down to the more specific areas, you'll start to see it's harder to see the dream and it's easier to see the confusion or the corruption or the deception or the temptation or the gullibility. So when Neptune's in a fire house, houses of identity, something's weird in the neighborhood of your identity. You're not exactly aligned in a normal sort of way, in a Saturn crystallized way. Something else is there. So when Neptune's in the first house, it's going to idealize your identity. It's going to magnify your day. So you're either going to be messianic and fanatical or super guilt-ridden. But Neptune, it's like a higher octave of Jupiter. When you're feeling guilty, boy, Neptune in the first house implies this dreamy, kind of spacey person that can be super dedicated, but tends to be overweight, either really overweight or really underweight. You know, like extreme beliefs around where one is. And it can be really sloppy. It can be really, it's where you're most spaced out. So someone might have Neptune at first, be very creative, very socially conscious person, but not fit in anywhere. Someone might else have it, might be very dedicated, but they have their practical things in their chart, and it's just in that one area where they have that dream, but they still have everything else going on. So you could say wherever Neptune is, there's going to be a tendency to be dramatic or play it out. Or so Neptune in the first house, you're going to be dramatic about yourself. You're going to believe in yourself. When you're believing, you're going to be so pumped, and when you're not, you're going to be still pumped or dramatic about how it's not working. When Neptune's up in the, oh no, we're doing angular houses first, not fire houses, sorry. So the angular houses are all the driving houses. So when you're driving, you're going to drive magnetically, you're going to drive powerfully, you're going to push. These are the houses where you're pushing to be somebody. So Neptune comes in and you're pushing to be someone, say, here, smoke up a little bit, have a drink first. You know, let's go, let's pump it up. Let's get really high. You know, I'm going to play this instrument, may as well get high and do it. Like, there's so many temptations to do this. There's an easy way, it's a difficult way, but it's better if you just stay simple. Like when I built my musical instrument, it would have been easy to smoke up and play something or drink something and play something. But no, I got a voice and not do any of that. If I'm going to play anything on this instrument I built, it's going to be me, not me being drunk or me being. So I never have played it with anything going on like that, but that was a shift in my life. But it's not about me. This is the first house is going to put that vision, that gullibility, that dreaminess, that spaciness on the ascendant. So it might take away, like, it's going to be hard to be focused in who to believe in, what to really have to believe in yourself. But other people may not believe in what you're believing in. But you're still going to push it. You're still going to push your fantasies or your dreams or your identifications. If you're trying to be in a career or a status, Neptune's there, you're not going to be very responsible or as responsible. You're either going to be fanatically responsible. We all got to do this. This has to be done this way, and you're going to be the overdramatic boss. Or more likely, I don't want to work that hard. I don't want to have that job. I don't want to deal with this thing. Like there's an evasiveness that can be there. So it's going to make difficulty finding regular, steady jobs. So you might have a job as an actor. You can have a job traveling, but it's going to be harder to find something that's dedicated. If you run across, if you believe in being a cop and you want to be a cop and you find that there's a whole bunch of cops being illegal and doing illegal things and you can't tell them or they'll kill you, you're caught with a confusion or corruption in the 10th house. That can happen in business and everything. Who's honest, who's not? So wherever there's the dream, there's a great vision and a great vision, but there's also a lot of people misusing it or twisting it. So something's not as it seems around career. So there would be, you'd expect confusion with the father, with the job. What do you want to do? There's tendency, well, I want to be dedicated. I want to do something more. So it's more of a social conscious work that would be better. Working, helping others, or doing something, social work rather than just predatory work. When Neptune's in the 7th house, you're trying to be in relationship. You want to be related. You want to be so related. You'll give everything. You're going to be so dedicated, so dependent on the person. This is the total person. You're going to be too much there. And the temptations and the dependencies will come up in relationships. And what happens if you're in a relationship that's not good for each other? But you're in there. How do you stay to work it through? It's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult finding a partner with similar beliefs or finding a partner that's self-sufficient. It's more likely you find someone that you're dependent on them or they're dependent on you. And you have to work through those codependencies and try to be yourself. So when Neptune's in the 4th house, it's kind of like skeletons in the closet. Confusions are where your security is, where your home is, where your foundation is. Something's not as it seems there. So there's usually some puzzle, some confusion, some distortion, some gullibility, something not as it seems from the home that you came from. And with any of the other planets, when you see something like this, it could easily be the roots of an abuse or an alcoholism, or like, but Neptune in the 4th house, it's right down around your motivation, around how you take it. You're going to be very dramatic. If someone blames you, you're going to take it so personally. It's going to go in so deeply, and it can affect everything else you do in your life. Same way as if you're up in the 10th house and you're pushing to be in a career and you align with a bunch of thugs or a bunch of people who aren't so good, you're tied up with that gang, and that gang is going to affect your social status, and it's going to prevent good people and you being secure in your personal life. But you may not see it like that for a while. So there's the dream, and there's the sorrow and the confusion and the gullibility and the temptation wherever Neptune is. When it's in the angular houses of being, you're making it happen. It's coming through each of these portholes. And that dreamy person, or that dreamy position, or that dreamy me, or my dream of where I want to live, I just want to have the dream of living out in the country. You get out in the country and there's nothing there. There's no money. There's nothing. It's difficult to hold it. So like, there's always puzzles, confusions where Neptune is when it's there. You won't see it right. You just know it's there, and you wait till you see from the person, how do you deal with this? Because it's not always critical all across life. There'll be times when this comes up more dramatically so than others. We see these times when we get to the transits. But this is the predisposition to it. And you should be like, you got to be able to see this and then make a connection to it in your own life. That's why we have the worksheets. And then be able to ask other people and just look at a few other people's charts around you, see if it's so. Okay, when it's in the having houses, having resources, having talents, having friends, it's about having and using, having money and resources to use, having friends and social connections to use, having other people's resources, 8th house to use, having personal feelings to use. Good or bad, how do you use them? So when Neptune's there, you're going to be spacey, and you're going to be spacey about how these things are used. You're either going to be fanatical, it should be like this, I got to do this, or it can be really guilt-ridden, it can be very confusing. I don't know what I want to do with this. So Neptune in the 2nd house, which I have, I've never been really well off, although I've had times when I've pulled in some big money, but it disappeared pretty fast. Usually in my life, when I'm trying to find money for a good cause, or for something else, to help other people, it comes in a second. As soon as I'm trying to get it to help me out of my predicament, it never comes. I have to work my way out of it. But I have Neptune there. I have a gullibility of, if I have a little bit of money, I'll do it other things and use it to promote my vision. I believe in the vision. I believe it. I got to spend it. I got to do it. Well, that's fine, but it's like in the movie Close Encounters, just like the guy is getting the dirt from the backyard, piling it on the kitchen table to make the mountain, because he sees that he's making the mountain. The wife's taking the kid and running away because she thinks the husband's lost it. He's using his resources for this. This is crazy. So that a Neptune in the 2nd house can be very gullible or deceptive around their use of money and the use of their talents. They can believe in it extra fanatically, or they can disbelieve in it. So I have my Sun and my Neptune in this area. So I have my confidence there, and the belief in there tends to reinforce my confidence. And when I believe in something, I'll do it, whether I have the money or not. And may not be practical, but I have memories of things I did that, like building a wood henge. It was great. It didn't make sense to anybody else, but it was something I had to do. I had to use my resources and my time to do it.